The green flag waves and the 45 minutes start counting down, and immediately Cameron McLeod tries to close down the inside, but Sam Paley is there in the white and blue car round the outside. Marco Signoretti in the Academy car, the Mustang on the side. Paley going wide, gets the inside at the first chicane. That's going to be a drag race down the hill to the Old Forest S's, 3-4 wide in the middle of the field. Noaker already moving up through the field there and taking a couple of places even before we got to the middle of the first chicane. Now heading down the hill and through the S's, round the outside for the number 34 of Will Lucas, and Automatic Racing in that brightly coloured machine. That's the Dubuque sponsored car, blue, red, white and black, through Tertre Rouge for the first time and onto the first part of the Ligne Droite Thénardier, the Mulsanne Straight. And Peter Mackay, the good news is they've listened to the briefing and they've got through the first few corners. We were told to expect bump drafting, and it's happening already.
It is, yeah. When the Mustang, of course, very popular in the NASCAR Cup Series. We're seeing a little bit of that here going down the Mulsanne Straight as a little move down into the Daytona chicane for car number 26. Sam Paley on. Marco Signoretti gets that job done to move up into second place, but it's Cameron McLeod who actually kind of just managed to break the draft a little bit there, and he's looking strong as Noaker already making his way up the order. When we get to the first timing point, we'll be able to see how many positions he has actually made. In fact, he's up to 29th already. He's made 10 positions in the first split. Wow.
That's in a 40 second split at the front of the field though. McLeod with half a second comes into the second chicane. That's the one that goes left, right, left. Further back down the field, the red and white car of Robert Noaker's teammate Sandy Sotelo. Sandy's been quick as well. That's the number 7 car, mainly white with the red striping. A little bit of off-track shenanigans there from Creator Autosport and Chelsea Denofa in the Dark Horse Stars. Lost a position to Tate Pritt in the number 98 with the red numbers. The red numbers are the Dark Horse standard cars. Those are the guys who are making a career out of this. The blue number background for the Legends and the green for the Stars. At the moment, everybody is trying to make hay in the morning sunshine here. And round the outside again, that number 98 car for Tate Pritt. This is tremendous stuff. Andy Prior is watching this, and I know he's cursing his luck to be sitting next to us in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre and not sitting in the seat.
I must say, John, I'm happy I'm sat here because these cars look so equal. This is going to be a hard race, and I can see that Sam Paley and Cameron McLeod are going to have a tough race here. Remember, John, there's no TC in this car, so this is the first lap. You wait till lap 5 or 6. These guys are going to be balancing the car on the throttle, optimizing their exits, and it's going to be a handful, and that's great. So going to be a big race at the front here.
Battle at the front of the field. Sam Paley, who's worked his way up through the IMSA single manufacturer challenges and has been a leading light in everything that he has raced. He takes to the new cars very quickly indeed. One of what I have termed over the last few years a super rookie. Almost won the Mazda MX-5 Championship in his first season in that, and he has taken to these Dark Horse Challenge cars, the Dark Horse R's, very, very well indeed.
And it's his birthday today. What a way to spend your birthday, as we have a problem for car number 35. That's Andrew Mideki. Oh no, the man
one of the Aussies
from Tasmania. Yeah, he's got back going again though. But yeah, Sam Paley up there fighting for a race win at the moment on his birthday at Le Mans. I don't know if it gets any better than that.
I think he had a spin at Arnage. That was Marshall Post 26, so I think he's just gone around there. Yes, now confirmed that was the case from race control. Jensen Altsman, Will Lucas and David Wall all in a good battle for 5th, 6th and 7th at the moment as they come through the Ford chicane. Huge slide again by the white with blue racing stripes car. That is brilliant stuff from the number 95 car. And that's Nathan Van Springel.
I tell you what, John, if you can see the slide from here in the car, that would have been massive. So he's, this is nice to see these guys having to deal with a limited rear grip. Yeah, a good pass on the inside there from 15, which is Tate Pritt. Hang on, no, it's not.
It's Alfonso Diaz.
Alfonso Diaz. So that's impressive. I think Alfonso also races in the championship, so
He does,
these
in the
guys
States.
are going to get keyed in, and it's going to be interesting to see how this race evolves.
Biggest mover at the moment, Robert Noecker, up 19 positions after his qualifying was cancelled out due to a post-qualifying infraction on the setup of the car. He is absolutely flying through, but we've got someone who will have to come down the pit lane, and we weren't expecting this, and it's Tim Miles in that number 47 Wall Racing car that we were talking about before. Incorrect starting procedure, so we'll get to see a little more of that white number 47 than we wanted to. At the front of the field, Cameron McLeod by 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, Cameron McLeod, the leader of the Super 2 Championship in Australia at the moment, which is the feeder series to the ultra-competitive Supercar series. And at the moment, doing a great job, leading from Sam Paley by 1.2 seconds. Paley, the leading driver amongst the juniors. There are 6 Ford Performance juniors taking part in this race, and Paley leads them at the moment. But how long is it going to take Robert Noecker to make his way to the front? I mean, amazing, 20 places in one lap. But those were the easiest 20 places. The next 20 places are going to be a lot more difficult.
I will say this now will start to get difficult. I always say that the middle of the grid pulls you backwards and the front end of the grid pulls you forwards. And he's now going to get into the racy part of the grid, the dark horse entries, who are all quite fast drivers. So it's going to get more tricky.
Well, and his last lap was something like 15 seconds away from Cameron McLeod's lap because, of course, he's had all that traffic to go through. As we space out, we're still with a yellow flag at Marshall's Post 8, and that's just post Tertre Rouge, but not actually all the way down to the first chicane. 2 cars involved down there. Keith Kasulki in the other Ryan McLeod racing car machine. Great to see Keith back in the car after that nasty accident he had a little while ago. And is there 2 there? I thought I saw another number. No, it is just the 191. At the moment, we're covering that with a yellow, and hopefully that car is off at the side of the road. Battles throughout the field, though. Keep an eye open as well. Somebody that I haven't mentioned up until now for Competition Motorsport is Jim Farley in the number 17 car. He's almost halfway up the field. He's 3rd in the stars. He's got the Chris Harris, Chris Hoy car behind them. They're going to take one of the races each, and I think
Chris Hoy.
that it's Chris Hoy today. So Chris Hoy today.
This is Sir Chris in here today. As I say, he's recovering from a tricky qualifying, which wasn't his fault. So he's going to go forward. He's great in these cars. Also, Chris Harris really impressed me on the first day. He was in the top 5 in one of the free practice. He's a good little peddler, Chris.
Oh, he's
won his class at the Nürburgring 24. In fact, they drove the car to the track, did the Nürburgring 24,
Correct.
and won the class. That car's now in the museum of that particular manufacturer.
Side by side, Alex Bashira in the car with the orange, the number 33 car. Alex has often had military decals on that. US Army Air Force or USA AF, I should say, on the car in the past. He likes the number 33 as well, and he's just made up a position going into the tricky Porsche curves. These cars through the Porsche curves, not aero cars as such. These are street-based cars, very quick in a straight line, getting well up over 165, 170 miles an hour, but they'll be moving around when you lean on them through the Porsche curves.
I'm actually watching these cars. I can see them moving around. They've all got to deal with oversteer, which is only going to get worse. So it's whoever looks after the tyre the best. These are fast cars, as I say, arriving at braking zones at 170 mile an hour. With the rear moving around, so it is going to get more and more of a handful during the race, and that's a good thing. It teaches you how to manage the tyre and how to be progressive on the throttle. And one of the things with Le Mans, if you have a poor exit, you pay for that all the way down the straight. So these guys are going to be under a lot of pressure in these chicanes to balance the throttle and get a really good exit. But it's really nice to see the driving standards at the moment, John. Very clean and very good. We've got a good racing director. So, he's got his message across.
Double yellows on the entrance to Tertre Rouge, and this is for the stopped 191 Keith Kasulki's machine. In fact, it's a slow zone now. So this is exactly as you'll see in the Le Mans. They are getting the full Le Mans experience here, Peter. Where else do you get slow zone?
As soon as I saw that come up on the screen, I thought, what another thing for these drivers to get on top of. And like you say, getting the Le Mans experience as the 191 car is being dealt with. And being able to deal with an incident like that rather than have to bring the safety car out and lose a load of racing time, that is so useful. And that's now, the incident has been cleared. Fantastic job by the wonderful team of marshals here at Le Mans, and that I would imagine that slow zone will be cleared fairly soon, and the whole track will be back to green flag again.
So Keith Kasulke being pushed by Marshall Power rather than V8 Coyote Power. Now, who reacts quickest to coming out of the slow zones? We've also had a spin for Scott Thompson in the lovely blue number 30 LAP Motorsports car, that mid-light blue machine. This is still the slow zone at the moment. Robert Noecker now up to 11th in class. That puts him well inside the top 20. In fact, he's in 15th position now. Wait for the green flag. Who is going to react quickest? This is not a full course yellow, just a slow zone. So they will be coming out of the slow zone as they exit the chicane. I think that slow zones tend to end as they exit.
Correct. It's the exit of the first
chicane. It tends to be in an acceleration area, is what I was trying to say.
Valuable experience for these guys. They're now experienced slow zones at Le Mans, and you can, optimize those slow zones and make sure you minimize the loss.
Yeah.
So to learn how to do that is impressive. They've got to wait for the green flag. All of these things. There's so much to take on board as a driver to Le Mans. So it's a good experience.
22nd position for Competition Motors, Jim Farley. He is the big boss at Ford. I don't mean Ford Competition, I don't mean Ford Performance or Motorsports or Ford US. I'm talking about Ford Global. The man who is at the top of Ford is racing, and he's a very tidy peddler.
I'm just thinking he must have a fantastic team of PAs who look after
executive
him.
assistants, I think you'll find.
Executive assistants.
Oh, yes.
Apologies, I didn't realise that was the term now. But you know what I mean. People who look after him, and to have the time to get into the race car. To make the time to get in the race car is fantastic, and it just shows you why Ford are so broadly involved in motorsport in so many different categories.
Because they have a racer at the head of the overall. In terms of the company. Mark Rushbrook here this weekend as well, of course, the head of Ford Performance. Had a chat with him this morning before I came into the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre here on the Bugatti circuit, and he was smiling. He's been excited about this since this was announced at the back end of last year at the Night of Champions for the first year of the American Series. Just under 40 cars that were transported across, a fantastic feat of logistics. The slow zone for Keith Kasulke's car will not be there the next time we go round. That car has been moved. It's actually showing as just on the exit of the Ford chicane at the moment on my tracker. It's not there. It's just been moved to the inside of the circuit. So if you're watching on live timing and scoring via our colleagues at Alcamel, and thank you very much to the Italian arm of Alcamel who are providing us with all of our timing and scoring data, and a particular thank you to the ACO TV and Natalie Fargier, Olivia Denis, and all of the rest of the team on site here at Le Mans for making sure that we've got these glorious pictures going to you around the world. Dark Horse Legends, it's Alex Bashura leading. He's down in 9th position. Meantime, Tanner Faust by about 7 seconds from Chelsea Denova. Then Frankie Muniz right on the tail of Frankie now is Jim Farley, but Chip van Verst is between them at the moment. Robert Noecker, the man most likely, was in 15th position. He's gone past Sandy Satulo, which is one of his drivers, now up behind Josh Hansen, Peter.
So they come through Carding Corner, then down towards the Ford chicane underneath the Ford VIP hospitality unit where a lot of the drivers' families are watching from. It's a fantastic viewpoint there as the number 33, coming through with the 95 of Nathan Van Spring go right in behind, and the way that these cars can ride the curbs as well, those Multimatic dampers working hard.
The DSSV, quite a sophisticated system. They can be tuned. You're an ex-touring car driver, so you'd be monstering these curves at this point.
I would be absolutely monitoring these curbs. I would be on the grass more times than Bob Marley. No, I mean, I absolutely love this. Love this this opportunity to muller the curbs, and yes, the Multimatic DSSV spool damper is a really trick bit of kit, to be honest. So the guys actually told me how amazing this car is over the curbs. It's a heavy car, but it just absorbs them pretty well. And I tell you, Robert Noeka is on a charge.
Yeah.
He's coming through. He is driving that car absolutely beautifully.
We talked about this in the qualifying show that we did for radio from the balcony of the VIP hospitality on the entrance to the Ford Chicane yesterday. But these cars, Peter, are tuned and safety equipment added versions of the road car, which you can buy in the UK, around the world. There's right-hand drive for right-hand drive markets. What a fantastic piece of kit. And the times they're putting in are 20 seconds from the middle of the GT3 field around here on an 8.5 mile circuit. That's a lot of performance. Moment or two ago, Noeka down the inside of the number 88, making up another position as Chelsea Denova with the green mirrors, meaning he's in the stars class. Not his fight at the moment, and not wanting to get in the way of a hard-charging Noeka. But the pace of these cars, Peter, really has astounded me here, and they could probably go a little bit quicker down the straight. Certainly if you get a good draft, you'll get a good run.
Yeah, huge performance, and proper brawny feel as well with that front engine V8 layout. In the stars, it's Tanner Faust who's leading the way in 8th overall. Chelsea Denova in 2nd in that class and 13th overall. Frankie Muniz managed to get his way past the Bossa. I guess ideally the guy that invited him, Jim Farley, up into third place.
Frankie Muniz, who's had a couple of top 10s, or at least one top 10 in one of the races I was watching in the that NASCAR trucks, and he was a bit disappointed not to do better than that in one of the races recently. Had a quick chat with him earlier in the week. He's been one of our guest commentators as well. Was with me last year at the WEC round where the Ford Mustangs were on the bill there at the Circuit of the Americas, and he's loving his time going back into racing in stock cars, and he just wants more time in this car. In the Legends, it's Alex Bashira still in 9th position that leads from Dan McKeever. Robert Noeka racing in the 91, he's in 11th overall, and in 3rd Alfonso Diaz has picked his way through some of the other drivers, and he is sitting in 17th position. 3 different categories here, all the same car.
Cameron McLeod has just edged the gap out with a 4-minute 20.9 last time by. The gap is now 4.2 seconds at the front of the field, so he's broken the draft to Sam Paley.
And Nathan Van Springel will have to come into the pit lane. His car has a mechanical defect of some description. The black and orange flag, you get no courtesy for that. That is next time by, not the usual, well, you've got to do it within 3 laps. Got to come in straight away. Still 27 minutes to go here, Andy. Cameron McLeod has gone off well, 4 seconds. The question will be for me is, has Sam Paley been saving a little bit of performance from his Michelin tyres?
Both those guys are very impressive drivers. I think Cameron's got his head down. He really has impressed me. I mean, he's come in as a one-off race. Bearing in mind that Sam Paley has driven this car before. There's a pass there for 27.
It's going to be a touchdown at Arnage, and that was a battle for position. And Drew Nobat and Tom McGlynn in that car going around. He has rejoined. Yes, number 27 has got back on the circuit.
The field is very close still, John, when you look at it. They're all pretty much tucked in their own slipstream and having some really good battles. You've got Matt Nicol-Jones challenging now Marco Signoretti. Now Matt's the team owner and Marco drives for him, so there's going to be a bit of pride at stake there, I would say. There's a good battle going for the podium with Matt looking very racy, and Jensen's got his head down. You're noticing also Cameron McLeod did a 4:20.9 lap, fastest lap of the race, which potentially could put him on pole for race 2.
That is a very good point. We have to keep an eye open to to see if anybody does improve, because if they do, they will improve. I saw a car going slowly down.
Tanner Faust, the leader in the Stars.
Right.
There's something wrong with Tanner Faust's car. He had a big lock-up going into the Dunlop chicane. I don't believe the cars have. Do they have ABS?
No.
They don't.
Yes, they do
A
have
little,
ABS.
there is ABS, no
Yeah.
TC. Yeah.
Right, so that's strange then. Something wrong there for Tanner Faust.
So I think then that means Chelsea Tanofa has gone into the lead. Frankie Muniz in second, and Jim Farley now in third position in the Dark Horse Stars. Also someone going off and kicking up the dust. Amazing with all the water we've had here recently, how phenomenally dry it still is down at Turk Rouge and the edges of the circuit. Alex Bashura then with Robert Noeger now right behind him. This is extraordinary. Noeger right up in the wheel tracks of the 33 Spark Performance leader in the Dark Horse Legends. This is the battle for 8th position from a car that started in 38th position.
The thing is, though, is that there's another well, I would imagine Noeger will be able to get this move done, but he's got 6.9 seconds up to the next car as they come down into the second chicane on the Mulsanne, and Montpellier not making it easy. The oral surgeon who won the Dark Horse Legends last year and is leading the championship this year.
Chip Van First in the number 68 car has also got the black and orange flag, so they would have to come in. So Bashura holding off Robert Noeger as they are on one of the long runs. No, Noeger's not been able to challenge there at the front of the field. Cameron McLeod with 5.4 seconds now. Back to Sam Paley, Marco Signoretti, two of the juniors. Matt Nicol-Jones, Jensen Altsman, another 6 seconds further back. That incident that we saw earlier between Tom McLean and Drew Neubauer has been noted at Arnage. Signoretti and Mark Nicol-Jones, both for Academy Motorsport, similar liveries on the cars. Marco Signoretti, proud Canadian.
He is. Marco's a family member of the Multimatic team. He's one of our test drivers. He's a good driver. Matt Nicol-Jones has got a lot of experience, and he's raced cars with manual gearboxes, and he's old school blip and shift and all that sort of stuff. So he's looking like he's very racy, and I would say a little bit faster than Marco at this stage. And I think
Does Matt do a bit of classic racing as
Matt's
well?
done some classic
Yeah, I
racing.
thought so.
Obviously last year he drove the GT4 for Academy in the Ford Mustang. He's a good driver, Matt. He's done Formula 3 and everything else. So well, yeah, here we go. We've got Noeger passing.
Yeah, he's passed the number 33. That's the leader in the Dark Horse Legends, Alex Bachura. So Bachura then holding on to his lead in the category. Dan McKeever is the next car he's got to look back to for the blue mirrors and the blue door squares. That's the Robert Noeger car, the number 91, but between them is Nathan Van Springel. But I think the 95 has got to come in.
He didn't pit, but
Right.
there's nothing. I cannot see anything obvious on the car for 95 Nathan Van Springel that would cause him to have to come in. So maybe that has just been mistaken, perhaps. But anyway, he's kept back. He's kept going. A little bit of damage to the rear of Tanner Faust's car, so I wondered if that was maybe where he lost some time.
Well, he's actually still scored as the leader in that class. So,
Yes, he is.
So Chelsea Tanofa did not close in and go through. Will Lucas having a bit of a battle with David Wall at the moment. David Wall of Wall Racing. You'll know those guys from the fabulous psychedelic sort of slightly melted BASF livery, the Bathurst 12 Hours on the Lamborghini. So much interest from Australia and New Zealand. Hello to everybody who's watching over there. Hopefully, well, we'll be back with you next year for the 12 Hours. Otherwise, Bathurst 12 Hours. And you're trying very hard to get back for the 6-hour race as well next Easter.
And the Mustang has a little bit of Australian in it as well. You
Oh,
look
does
at
it
the
ever?
success it's had down under. I mean, I loved it when the previous generation supercars, when the Mustang came in and replaced the Falcon, and Scott McLaughlin was just unstoppable in that car. It was a great machine to watch. That was the previous generation.
This is the fight for the podium, guys, here. The final podium spot.
Signoretti.
Marco.
No team orders here. They might be teammates, but they are both in the dark horse category. So Canada versus Great Britain. Matt Nicol-Jones looks to the left-hand side, gets back in again, tries to get a second blast of a little bit of a tour. Oh, a little bit late on the brakes, but great driving by Marco Signoretti. I thought he was going to massively miss the apex there on the second chicane, the first part there, the left-hander. He got it hauled into the apex.
I think Marco's I know he's a little bit extreme on his setup here. He's decided to make the car quite loose on the entry, and now I bet he's regretting that decision because he's under a lot of pressure from Matt there with the rear of the car moving onto the braking. John, one thing that I think is really important with these vehicles is, as the driver, you can influence the balance of the car with braking, shifting and down changing, and this is something these kids are doing. It's not just a click of the paddle, and this is something that I think is really valuable for these youngsters to be learning at this stage.
Is Sir Chris Hoy, third of those three cars. In the number 77, the 7 standing for his 7 Olympic gold medals, of course.
He's doing well, his lap times are good. Chris is a very competitive, of course, he's a super competitive guy.
He is.
And it comes through, but he's a lovely guy, and he's fighting hard. Here we go, side by side.
Yeah, this is Signoretti and Matt Nicol-Jones again. And this time through goes Matt Nicol-Jones, and that is an incredible pass into the right-hander before Indianapolis. That is really brave and good driving by both of them there, Andy, because you've got to have respect if you're going to make that pass.
A side-by-side move into the fastest corner, the most daunting corner on the track. I mean, it's blind, fast entry, and you've got to gather the car up for the slower part of that section. It's a very tricky, complex section. So Matt's driving well. I think Matt's going to probably gap Marco at this point, and I think he's on to Sam Paley now. That's his next target, and you can see he's actually pulling a gap already.
So many of you saying, I've never seen this many Mustangs. Great racing, great sound. We do it every couple of weeks on the IMSA package, and we'll have this kind of coverage for you, full, live, free, unblocked and no breaks in sound and vision, IMSA Radio and IMSA TV throughout the rest of the year. We've got another race here, first thing on race day morning, Saturday morning here. It's the first track action up with the Larks. What a way to wake up the campsite with the sound of 38 5-litre V8, and of course it was announced last month, I think it was, or perhaps the month before, that the second of the Mustang series, it will be a Mustang Cup series, so that's the opportunity for 2 drivers to share a car in races over the weekend, both taking a shot in one of 2 races. So the Mustang Cup series will go to Australia in 2026. So for those of you down under thinking, I'd like a bit of this, well, watch out for more details soon on that. That was reported, as I say, I think sometime in April or May, that will be coming over to you. These cars will be coming over to you in 2026.
Interestingly, on the battle between the 62 of Matt Nicol-Jones and the 97 of Marco Signoretti, exactly what Andy mentioned earlier on, when you make a mistake out one of those slow corners, you lose it all the way down the straight, and that's exactly what happened to Signoretti. He got on 2 wheels on the gravel coming out of Mulsanne, and that lost the momentum, and that gave Nicol-Jones the opportunity to pounce.
Tom Tate with the multicoloured car coming through the Ford chicane in the number 8. Now, who's he got sitting behind him as they cross the line now? Tate, and then it's Sir Chris Hoy in that 77 car as they head up through the first corner. Doesn't look much of a corner, turn 1 effectively, Andy, but it's uphill, and it's absolutely key to get your car balanced before the braking area to the chicane.
You know, your mind is fully calibrated at 170 mile an hour. You've got to slow up one of the slowest corners on the track whilst turning and down changing. So it is a corner that does require some technique. It's almost flat in this car, but you always have to consider almost flat.
Those are the best corners, though, because that's
Exactly.
where the driver makes the difference.
That's right. It's how you play with the pedals and steering and how you time everything together. And this is something that you can see these guys. What interests me at the moment is that the top 6 cars are all lapping within about 2/10 of each other. So they're really getting their head down. This race, here we go again. We've got some real good challenges down the order, 34 and 38 there on the inside into the chicane.
That's Automatic Racing. Will Lucas and David Wall coming through on the inside in the Pace-sponsored red, white and blue machine with the flag of his nation on the side. Peter Mackay.
Interestingly, Signoretti's got back past Nicol Jones because Nicol Jones made a slight error coming into coming out of the Daytona chicane, and that allowed Signoretti to get by. So they are swapping back and forth all the way.
Do you know one thing that's really, it's easier to follow than to be followed here, because you always wait for the car in front to brake, and you brake a fraction later, and then you get a little bit earlier and neater on the throttle, and when you're actually leading the train, you're the reference, and that's not easy around here.
Robert Noecker is hoving into view behind David Wall and Will Lucas. They're having their own scrap at the moment, but behind them it is the white and blue number 13 further up the field. Signoretti and Matt Nicol-Jones still continue to battle. This is the inter-team battle at Arnage. Heavily banked corner at Indianapolis, heavily banked corner, and
I think Matt's probably overcooked his tyre a little bit, because now that car is moving around a lot on the braking. And here we go again. We're into the slipstream, and Matt's now having a look back at Marco. So this race, I mean, if I was them, I would concentrate on trying to move forward first.
yeah, and they are teammates. So this is a new part of the surface right now. So that big bump that you will remember as you turn in to the Porsche curves there, Andy, is gone. But then the surface stops and you're back on the old surface for that tricky double left-hander. Change of grip level there.
Big time change of grip level. Really daunting part of the Porsche curves. It's just so special. Matt's now looking up the inside of Marco here. We've got to get through karting. Very strict on track limits. So, Marco's just done a track limit there, and you see Matt benefited from that. So Marco will have a warning now. They're very, very strict on track limits here. Obviously, ultra high level of sporting control, being the major wet race of the season. So these kids are learning how to play within the rules, which is very important for them.
Across the line for those two having the battle. Cameron McLeod is on his 8th lap. We still, Peter Mackay, have 13 minutes to go, which I reckon means that we are going to get 3, possibly 4 more laps if Cameron keeps up the pace he's going at the moment.
Yeah, 4. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Hooray!
Hooray! Yeah, we get one bonus there. I hope they put enough fuel in the car. That's for sure. We've had that a few times.
Well, that's good.
This week is massive slide for Will Lucas in 7th place, trying to hold off Robert Noecker. It comes into the first part of the double chicane, and the rear comes around. It's not often nowadays actually where racing cars have such expressive personalities, because the aero is so good. They look like they're on train tracks. Now, this type of category, the car really gets to move around. It makes it very entertaining.
Dan McKeever is 2nd in the blue plates. That is the legend, and he has got trouble behind him right now, because coming through is Dan McKeever. Coming through past Dan McKeever rather is Sandy Satulo. They are both Robert Noecker racing cars. 4 Robert Noecker racing cars by name, but they're running another 2 for other teams. So 6 cars there have got under their awning this weekend. And then right behind Sandy is Tanner Faust. Whatever was ailing Tanner Faust before seems to have cleared up a little bit, and he's still got 4.5 seconds on Chelsea Denova in that battle in the stars category. And make no odds, absolutely no doubt in my mind that although that is a fully invitational class in the stars, there's still a bit of bragging rights. To the left-hand side, Robert Noecker goes for the overtake. He's on the inside for the 2nd chicane. 2/3 of the way down the Mulsanne straight. Goes up the inside of Automatic Racing and Will Lucas, and the blue and white car, metallic blue and white car of Robert Noaker. Softly spoken man, but let his driving do the talking. Runaway leader in the championship in the States so far, unbeaten in the rounds that we've had in the IMSA Championship, and he is staking a claim for driver of the day right here from 38th position, as Eric Evans had that problem and did not come to the green flag, but from 38th at the green flag now up to 7th position and 16, call it 17 seconds away from the leader, but he's not catching the leader on time at the moment, Peter McCart.
No, and the fastest lap of the race set by your race leader Cameron McLeod, who, because he's doing such a perfect job, we haven't really talked about it much. He's 5.3 seconds down the road. He holds the fastest lap of the race. Robert Noaker's best is 2/10 slower than that. But Noaker now is the few cars ahead of him. His absolute best is a little bit better, so we could see him move a few positions before the end. Interested to see how far he goes as the rear bumper from the number 1 of Tanner Faust comes off on the Mulsanne straight.
And that is debris in the track just heading into the first chicane, and we're covering that with a double yellow at the moment.
Nice to see a proper race, support race here at Le Mans, because they can be tricky with the slow zones. It's an old school circuit as well, with gravel on the exit, so you do pay a price if you get it wrong. And it's really nice to see a rhythmic race and giving these guys a chance to really learn the track. And I'm sure as you go forward through the weekend, the next race tomorrow will be even closer at the front. Everybody's getting a chance now to really know what they want from the car and maybe to make some changes before tomorrow's race. We've still got the Matt and Marco battle going on here for the final spot on the podium.
M&M's here, Matt and Marco. Tall lads is Marco Signoretti, but again, relatively quietly spoken. He's grown up around motor racing, always wanted to drive in sports cars and endurance racing, and he's making a name for himself on the Multimatic roster.
Like Marco, he's a great kid, he's a nice, hard-working boy, and he's great fun to work with him. I'm also working with Nathan Van Sprinkle, who's still out there in the top 10, the top 11 cars, 10th in the Dark Horse Series. And these juniors have really impressed me, how open-minded they're really. Oh yeah, we've got to lock up. That's Tanner Faust.
Tanner Faust with that bumper that is flying around. Sandy Tatulo it was that went wide in the Ford chicane in the number 7 car. I'm surprised Tanner hasn't had a black and yellow yet for that. Right up behind Tanner Faust at the moment is Dan McKeever, who's second in the Dark Horse Legends, and he's not closing in on Alex Bashura, who still leads that category. And an incident for the Motor City Dark Horse racing car of Josh Hansen, and that is at the Ford chicane as well. A bit of hip and shoulder. He had it, and then he didn't have it. Just got behind on the steering and just taps the wall. Now, if he hasn't broken a tooling on the left rear there, he should be able to get that going. Do you notice who that was?
Chelsea Denova.
It was Chelsea Denova, yeah. That's second in the Stars category. He should be able to get that car going again, showing at Marshall's Post 1. That number 11 from Motor City Dark Horse Racing. It was on the outskirts of the top 10. It's been the M&M show for sure, with Matt Nicol-Jones now right back in the wheel tracks of the similar car of Marco Signoretti.
They're only 5 seconds off. No, only a couple of seconds off. Sorry, Sam Paley. So if they're starting to reel them back in. If they were to work together, they could really be fighting for position 2 on the podium here.
These cars are not that aerodynamically worried in terms of following behind people, which is great.
Yeah,
they're not that aerodynamically challenged in that respect. Yeah, we get good racing, but still, there'll be an effect. If 2 cars work together, they'll be faster than a single car.
Absolutely. 2 engines and one big frontal area will help the VMAX. So they need to work together and push each other around. If you're defending really hard,
into the Mulsanne corner, and this is another pair of the
That is David Wall and Jensen Altsman.
Jensen
having
Altsman
a
with the
battle there.
yeah, Jensen with the position. David Wall wanting it. The Team Floral and Wall racing cars, Peter.
And Robert Noaker has got a perfect grandstand view of them, saying, yes, you guys keep doing that. To Andy's
pulled
point,
right up to
you guys keep doing up and I'll catch up with you.
Well, it looks, I'm afraid, as if that number 11 car did move away for Josh Hansen, but he hasn't got all the way around. And well, maybe he hasn't actually. I don't think he has moved. He's got out the car, and we've also got a yellow. Well, we've got a yellow coming into the Ford chicane just before where Josh's car is stopped, and a penalty coming in for speeding in the slow zone, and that is for Team Anzac and Andrew Madecki, another one of the Antipodeans who have come up 6 seconds added to the end of the race time. That was for going too quickly in the slow zone. Just what you were saying, Peter, these are things, these are skills you might have to learn if you come to WEC racing. I'm sure there'll be other people looking at slow zones, particularly on longer circuits.
Yeah, it could be something that you're right, that could be rolled out in other places. I mean, we see it used a lot with success at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which is double length.
Exactly.
Is it really good? There you go. So yeah, on these longer circuits, it really does make a difference as we come through towards the end of the lap. Then underneath, the guests in the Ford VIP Hospitality are getting a great view of the Ford chicane, with Signoretti still hanging on to that last spot on the podium with the 62 of Matt Nicol-Jones, the former British GT champion, right on his bootlet.
Now, at the front of the field, the gap has come down significantly. We've only got this lap. Oh, there'll be another lap, I think, for the leader, Cameron McLeod, unless he plays it very cannily. No, it'll be on his last lap now, and we've had an incident at the exit of the Porsche chicanes. This will bring out a red flag. And I was just about to say that Sam Paley has pushed the go button and he cut the lead of Cameron McLeod down to 3.8 seconds. His charge to the front has been halted by a red flag as David Wall is in the barriers.
He's
in the number 38 car. He is out of the barriers. The front end of the car is deranged. Right at karting.
Yeah, that was a fairly substantial impact. I'm glad to see him out the car.
He's just come straight across the gravel track. I wonder if there's been a bit of side-by-side there that's maybe broken the steering there, Andy.
It's possible. I mean, it is one of those corners that you do tend to come together on, I'm afraid, with two cars, very much one racing line. Also, the exit curbs are very, very aggressive, and you can overcorrect, and the car could steer right. Yeah, it's a common area for it's a pinch point.
Yeah,
but I'm glad he's out the car.
Andy Creo, Peter Mackay, me, John Hindhaugh. Well, only a lap, but it would have been very interesting because Sam Paley was taking big chunks of time. He took 1.8 seconds out of the leader, Cameron McLeod, on the last lap before the red flag, and he was already gaining more when the red flag came out. But Sam will not be too disappointed, I think. Provisionally, and further down the field, there might be some changes because we will go back to the end of the green flag lap before the red came out. All the cars being asked to go back to the paddock. The podium ceremonies are down there, so we will not see that, I'm afraid. But let's congratulate our dark horse podium finishers. Cameron McLeod for Ryan McLeod Racing Car, the number 92. From Sam Paley in second in the number 26, Paley Motorsport, and Academy Motorsport, Marco Signoretti in third. So two of the youngsters right up there. Cameron McLeod, who is a young star of the future in Australian motorsport, leading the Super 2 category at the moment and looking for a drive in supercars. Matt Nicol-Jones and Jensen Altsman in fourth and fifth, with Will Lucas with Robert Noaker rather coming up to sixth position from the back of the 38 car grid, and Will Lucas in seventh. Now Robert Noaker's lap time of a 4:22.5. might be on pole.
Well, I think 4:20.29 was McLeod. I think Robert will be on the back of the grid for the second race. I think he's lost both qualifyings, or I believe so.
Right.
We need to check the regulation.
I think he'll get his lap time from this race.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
do hope so. He deserves it because he's driven very well.
And I think him and Cameron McLeod will have a great battle.
Oh, that
I
is
don't
gonna be-
think one will pull away from the other. looking at
It's
that pace.
mouth-watering tomorrow. Set your alarm clocks. If you're at the campsite, you won't need to, because the sound of 39 V8s will wake you up. Congratulations in the Dark Horse Legends class to Alex Bashura, finishing a very creditable 8th overall, ahead of Dan McKeever in second for Robert Noaker Racing, and for third it's the Tech Sport Racing Alfonso Diaz, who got up into the top 15. The Stars, after a little bit of a cough, a splutter and a rear bumper that was at a jolty angle, Tanner Faust, X-Games gold medalist in the #1 Spark Performance car, wins the Dark Horse Stars from Chelsea Denofa, involved in a bit of an incident earlier on, and Frankie Muniz is on the podium. What a brilliant, brilliant race. Andy Prio.
A fantastic race to watch. Also, how great by Ford Performance. All of these cars pretty much finishing the race, apart from a few offs here and there. A very, very good support race that was, and I think it's nice not to see so many yellows, and also a very good driving standard. So I've enjoyed that race a lot.
Totally agree with that. I mean, the worry is that you get a lot of time behind the safety car dealing with incidents, but also race control handling the incidents that did happen in the slow zones, allowing everyone to get their full racing experience is fantastic. And to Andy's point about what the effort that Ford Performance have put in, no American manufacturer has ever done a bigger shipping effort than Ford have for this to Le Mans than here this weekend, because the amount of cars, parts, bits and pieces is a huge undertaking.
I think I've got the numbers right when I say that they shipped 40 cars, and 22, I think, or 23 of those came as air freight, and the rest and some of the spares came on a boat. So it was a two-pronged invasion, if you will. But also what you're seeing there is how much the suspension is moving on Tanner Faust's car, how much the sidewalls of the Michelin tyres are working. They went down to 18-inch rims for this season. They started last year for the inaugural season on 19s, and after a bit of discussion with the teams and with Michelin, they went down to 18-inch rims and tyres to the absolute agreement of all concerned. They felt that worked better with the car and the suspension setup.
Absolutely, the car, the tyre, the damping, it all has to work together, and that was a good choice, I think. You can see the Multimatic dampers working overtime there on these chicanes, and all of the drivers commented on how good the car is over the curbs. So, and it's nice to see these slow-mos in action. I'm sure the few teams are going to be playing these back today to see how they can improve the car further for race 2.
What do you take from that, Peter Mackay, before we have a quick look at some highlights?
Well, I think it cements Cameron McLeod's position as a really promising talent for the future. You know, down in Australia, he'll be well known if he's leading the Super 2 Championship, but that on the European side of things, that really shows how fast he is. We saw him at Dubai, actually, in the 24-hour driving a Porsche Cup car very, very well indeed. His dad, Ryan, actually used to own Mark cars.
Correct.
So they're a big racing family too.
So 8 laps, the result taken the end of 8 laps, although we were well through the 9th. Cameron McLeod, Sam Paley, Marco Signoretti, Matt Nicol-Jones, Jensen Altzman in 5th position, David Wall, Robert Noaker, Will Lucas. Bachura takes the Dark Horse Legends for Spark Performance. The Stars by Tanner Faust also for Spark Performance as well. Nathan Sparks, who will be delighted with that, former MX5 Cup champion himself, so he knows all about single manufacturer racing. Just looking further down, Jim Farley passed some cars. He finished inside the top 20. 21st position for Sir Chris Hoy. Chris Harris will take over that car for the race tomorrow morning. Doug Peterson got to the end with that bonnet, with his hood signed by all of the fans from the autograph session yesterday. 13th in class for Doug Peterson in that brightly coloured car. Problems for Josh Hansen, who had a little bit of a sideswipe coming through the Ford chicane and didn't get the full trip. Chip Van Voorst was also, I think that car was smoking at one stage. Keith Kasulke didn't get the trip either. And Eric Evans didn't get the start, so he'll be disappointed at that. The clean-up continues for a moment or two. An unfortunate end to a fabulous race, and already the Manitou out there picking that one up. Andy Priaulx, you've enjoyed that?
I've really enjoyed it with you guys, and I wish you all the best of luck for the weekend. It was nice to see that car and driver walk away, and the car's taken a big hit from there. And here we go, start of the race and highlights.
Oh, absolutely fantastic stuff. My thanks to Andy Priaulx. He'll be heading back to Guernsey, and to Jo, his lovely wife. Wish you both the best. And also to Sebastian, who is racing next weekend in the IMSA Tech Sports Car Championship. Looking for that on IMSA Radio and IMSA TV. Peter Mackay, brilliant racing in the middle of the field. So often these races are marred by safety cars, but lots of respect, lots of close racing. Even bits of double book drafting in the early running.
Fantastic quality of racing, and to Andy's point, the sturdiness of the machine, because this is the biggest test of the car we've ever seen, and that was what Le Mans was created for in the first place in 1923, the automobile to and beyond its limit, and the Mustang Dark Horse R has come through with flying colours, red and white colours.
Yes, I would say you're spot on with that as well. And what an opportunity for all of these drivers. At the front of the field, Cameron McLeod from that inherited pole position. He would have started on the front row anyway, but he made the best of it and stretched out to getting on for 6 seconds at one stage. Sam Paley started to pull him back towards the end of the race, but then the red flag came out. But surely the talk will be about Robert Noack starting dead last in the blue and white number 13, carving his way through the field. Now, at the back of the field, I think he made up technical positions, Peter Mackay noted, just in the first sector, which is from the start-finish line through to the entrance of Tertre Rouge. And then he continued his charge forward into the top 15, into the top 10, and he will finish in 7th position. No points for this one, but he'll be delighted by that. I think he will get his lap time in this race because the car would have been legal for this, so he lost all of his qualifying times from the qualifying session. The regulations say if you improve your qualifying time, that's what sets your grid position. So I think we'll see him far further up the field.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, because I think we want to see that battle between Cameron McLeod and Robert Noack.
So Cameron McLeod takes it. Alex Bashura inside the top 10 for Spark Performance in his category for the Legends. Fantastic stuff from the man from Down Under, and he has got a big future ahead of him. Andy Priaulx was alongside me, John Hindhaugh and Peter Mackay. We've still got a couple of cars to clear out of the pit lane. Now, we've got a long 36, 38 hours coming up for us tomorrow on Saturday, Peter. But having seen that, I am not at all worried about getting up to see this race and to call this race in the morning.
Definitely not. No, who needs caffeine when you have 5-litre Coyote V8s?
So excellent stuff from everyone concerned. If there was a driver of the race, it would be going to Robert Noack in that blue and white car. 6 cars his teams have prepared over the last few days. They are in the paddock over by the old Maison Blanche. Great history at every single turn of this 8.5 miles, 13.5 kilometres. Let me get that the right way around. But all the way around here, there's history and a new set of drivers experiencing this here. A good run for everyone. Frankie Muniz, super popular in the 133 with all of the fans, and he'll be back tomorrow in the Tech Sport car as well. Just great fun in terms of what we've seen, and I'm sure what the drivers have experienced. Just looking down, talk about bucket list. Bruce Marine for LAP Motorsport, just outside the top 10 in the Legends in that number 37 car. Lewis Pericarpi uses the number 37 and 73. He used to run minis And of course, the 37 was the famous number of the Monte Carlo winning Mini that's 33 EJB that then got thrown out because of the wrong lamp bulb, apparently, rear light bulb. But Lewis Pericarpi likes that. Bruce Marine over from the US, Ryan working with us this weekend is his son, and absolutely bucket list sort of experience for a lot of these drivers.
And yeah, that's what it's about. We've got such a great mix of young star drivers trying to make the name for themselves and grow their career. But then you've also got drivers who, work hard during the week and race for fun at the weekend. And it doesn't get any better than coming to Le Mans and driving a Ford Mustang here. And that's the opportunity that this Invitational opens up.
So stand by your beds early tomorrow morning when we are back on the track. Check local listings for details. My great thanks to everybody concerned in our broadcast, particularly our hard-working camera operators. They've got another long day tomorrow, and we'll get them out of bed for the next race here in the TV compound at the end of the Bugatti circuit. What a way to kick off Fast Friday. There is more action at the circuit today, although we won't be covering it. The action, however, provided by the opening of the circuit to the general public, not to drive, but to walk around. So those who are feeling particularly fit will be given the opportunity to experience this circuit. It won't reopen to the public now until around about 8 o'clock on Sunday evening. Well, I think we can say that the Mustang Challenge Le Mans Invitational has been a success. Congratulations for the idea to Mark Rushbrook of Ford Performance. This was a thing that he had in his head. He thought we could make it happen. He has made it happen, and well done to Scott Bartlett and the rest of the Ford Performance team, along with their global logistics partners, for making this happen. A huge undertaking from them to get the cars here. And to the drivers, the teams, their friends and family, well, I'm sure that they will think that the effort that they have made to come to the Circuit de la Sarthe has been worthwhile. Ford coming with the hypercar in the next season or so to the FIA World Endurance Championship, and therefore will be represented in both class. Their focus after tomorrow morning's race will be on the Le Mans GT3 cars run by Proton, the 77 and 88 cars. They will be carrying the pride of the Ford Oval and the heritage of Ford at Le Mans here on Saturday and Sunday. But before that, we will have our second 45-minute contest for the Mustang Challenge Le Mans Invitational. Our Michelin tyres doing their job perfectly well this weekend, as it's time for us to wrap up our broadcast here. Thank you very much for being with us. And it was great to have Andy Priaulx alongside me, John Hindhaugh, and Peter Mackay. We'll see you tomorrow morning from Le Mans. So for Friday, it's around about 23 degrees at the moment. We expect that to go up to about